what has having a child taught me about myself? It's taught me that the big kid inside of me is inside the one that came out of me. It's in the teachings, it's in the likes, it's in the dislikes of all the things that I want to stay away from, the things that I want more of, and the things that I don't know about and I'm unsure about. My son is 7 years old. The best thing that's ever happened to me. And I say that because I didn't know what unconditional love was. No matter what I was doing, no matter all the things that I found joy in, no matter who was around me, I always knew I was missing something. No matter how much experiences like, oh my God, I can't wait to experience this. Yo, I love being around this person because of this, that, and the third. When I knew I was going to have a child and the mother of his child decided to go through with the pregnancy and give birth, I knew at that point in time that what I was missing, I finally had. I finally had that missing piece of what I felt I was missing in my childhood. You know, I didn't grow up with a father figure. I didn't grow up with male role models. You know, a lot of what I had to learn about being a male or a man in this world is I had to learn in real time. I had to learn off of what my interest was or what others were doing around me and kind of like pick and choose, experiment and pick and choose. When I knew I was having a son, I was ecstatic because I kind of always wanted a son, and then that changed into I just wanted to have a healthy kid. But I was just excited to be a parent and to give unconditional love. The things that I felt that I lacked as a kid or as an adolescence growing up or coming up, I wanted to be able to give that to my offspring or to my seed or to the life that I helped create and that I was blessed to be a part of bringing into this world and teaching what I've learned and being able to see where I still need work at, where I can still be better and not having to, and just knowing that I'm never going to give up on that person. Just knowing that I'm never going to walk out of that person's life because I don't feel like I'm worthy or I'm just at a point where I don't want to anymore. Like, I knew that I desired to have a father figure and I wanted that. And that was something that was prominent for the younger years of my life. I was like, I wanted my mom to get back with my dad. I was like, why y'all get back together? Why y'all do this? Like, I'm gonna get y'all back together. I need y'all back together. I didn't know what a two-parent family. I didn't know what a two-parent home looked like. I desired it. I wanted it. I didn't understand why I couldn't have it. I just knew I wanted it. I just knew that was missing. I knew that was important for me. And I couldn't quite piece everything together or ask the right questions or express myself in the right way. But I knew, even with my siblings, I would try to implement and I would tell them, and I think we kind of made a pact when we was younger. I believe we made a pact when we was younger that should we ever have kids, the things that we dislike having or not having or like having and not having, that we would just be the examples we wish we had and wanted for our children should we be blessed to have them or when we do have them, that we show them, we give them the love and show them the love and stand by them and represent them and give them the voice that we wish that we had, that I definitely wish that I had. I mean, because I'm not going to speak on anybody. I'm going to speak from myself, from my heart and my experiences. So there's certain things like I didn't like how I was talked to. I didn't like how I wasn't also invested in. Like I felt like I was the odd man out a lot of times when I was younger. Like I felt like I was weird and I didn't fit in, but I was loved and I was brought in because like, oh, you such and such son, or you such and such cousin, or that's such and such. So you good over here. It's love. But at the same time, I kind of just still always felt out of place, or like I didn't belong, or like I was being looked at or laughed at. And I was insecure when I was young. I wasn't always confident. I wasn't the confident person that I've grown to be in a sense. And, even sometimes I still question myself, but I don't question myself much when it comes to being a parent because there's no rule book to this. This is, I've been blessed and entrusted with the duty and the honor and the blessing of being a part of bringing another life into this world and being a vessel, being a blessing, and being a tool to help guide them and help guide my son and prepare my son for whatever his journey is, for whatever his calling is, for whatever his desires is, and his life is going to shape up to be for himself and giving him his own identity. And even with his name, I didn't want him to have my name. I really didn't want him to have my name. I wanted him to have his own identity. I wanted him to have his own mindset. I wanted to be able to just teach him just the basic things of how to, just teach him my feelings, my experiences, and when he experiences certain things that we can talk and not necessarily say this is what you have to do, this is what you need to do, because there's certain things where it's like, hey, you're not going to do that, you shouldn't do this, but giving him a voice where if he has a question, I don't shun him away, I don't beat around the bush. He's asking a question because there's something inside of him, in his heart. There's something inside of his mind. There's something in what he's seeing. There's something in what he's hearing. It's something with all his senses and just the spirit inside of him that's like, I have some sense of understanding. I have some sense of interest. So if I'm asking, I'm asking for a reason. I'm asking because I want to know more. I'm asking because I have a desire to know more. I'm asking because this is intriguing. And what I experienced coming up is that you had to stay in a child's place. But what is a child's place if you're evolving and this is my parent and I'm like my parent? If they're always shutting me down, if they always steering me away, if they always telling me to stay in the child's place and keep my mouth shut and this, that, and the third, where else am I going to gain the knowledge for the things that I'm questioning or have questions about or have a desire for? And with my son, I let him ask his questions. And when he asks his questions that I may feel like I may not know the answer to, I tell him we could come back to it. Like if we're out somewhere and he randomly asks me a question about something outside of where we are, if in that moment the environment is way too intense for me to answer a question, I'll say, hey, when we get home, let's research it, or let's revisit the question. I never tell him I'm never answering the question. I never tell him that he don't need to know that right now, or that's none of his business. You know, I'll there's one thing that I take from my childhood that I may say to him from time to time, which is there's a time and a place, you know, and right now this is not the time, and or right now this is not the place. I love the fact that he's inquisitive. I love the fact that he asks questions, that he shows what he's interested in, and he exudes the excitement, and he displays the charisma. You know how charismatic he is about wanting to know. He loves animals. He loves planes. He loves boats. He loves certain type of cars. You know, and things like that. And he wants to know, and it's a beautiful thing that at his age he wants to know so much. And I do not box him in or shelter him from the knowledge, because I can remember when I was younger and I would want to experience certain things or have questions or want answers for certain things, and I would get I would feel like I'm getting this right here. This right here, like, yo, go over there, man. Not right now, man. Yo, what you talking about? This ain't it. Like, I can't help you with that. You know, that's just how I felt. Like, that's how it felt to me. And I just vowed that's something I'll never do with my child. And, you know, he's always every day he has like 101 questions. I can't answer 101 questions. And I let him know, like, hey, I can't answer 101 questions. Or I don't have the answers to all your 101 questions. I don't remember or know all the answers, but we can find out together. We can look that up together. We could go experience that together. Like, because some things I had to learn outside of the people I desired to learn from and get the information from because it was safe. So a lot of times I put myself in harm's way or in danger or in situations that I didn't need to belong in or wanted to, just because I lacked the information I wanted. And sometimes I see other parents, I've seen it coming up, and I kind of still see it now a little bit, where it's like parenting just kind of seems like I don't, I don't, I really don't know how to say it. I don't want to ruffle no feathers or cause no unnecessary, but like, there's no rule book to this. There's no right or wrong way. Tasked with you are tasked with the task of preparing somebody for a world that's forever evolving. You are forever evolving. And you have your habits, you have your traumas, the dramas, you have your interests, and you have to find a balance of being there for yourself, maintaining your responsibilities, trying to still have interests and likes for the things that you want and make time for yourself. But now you have this real major duty, this 365, this 24/7, this however you choose to express that. You have this day in and day out job, day in and night out job of providing, preparing, teaching, sacrificing the whole length of the football field or soccer field for this person that you have to account for at all times. Not just to their 18, not just to their 21. It just gets a little bit where not so much of the burden is on you, but once you're a parent, for the most part, you have a responsibility. This is what came with the choice that you decided to make when you decided to do certain things that you knew produce this 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 that created this from a decision. A life form was created from a decision that you decided to make that you knew came with it. So when you take it on, it's like, all right, I'm here now. What am I doing? This is the best blessing. This is one of the best blessings ever. It's not a curse. It's not, at least to me, it's not a curse. It's been the biggest blessing ever because no matter what, I got to show up. I want to show up. I love, I love love. So the love that I want to exude, the love that I want to be an example of, the love that I wish I had, I have the opportunity to showcase that. I have the opportunity to be that. I have the opportunity to teach that to my little man, to my young prince, to the next, whatever it is he decides to be with his life, whatever he chooses to be, I get to be a part of and instill something that will last forever. And that's something that means the world to me. It's something I always wanted to do, be able to leave something that would be everlasting. And I have that opportunity with my son. So when I've been asked, what have I learned about myself from having a child is patience. What I believe unconditional love looks like, what a second chance looks like, what learning from my trials and tribulations, my mistakes, my missteps, my bad judgments, my good judgments, my moments where I felt like were once in a lifetime, and just being able to have real honest conversations. And I love how the fact that he comes and he asks certain things. Hey daddy, you use this word, or hey daddy, I learned this word, or I heard this word. What does this word mean? Oh hey daddy, why do people say this, or why do people do this, or why does that happen? You know, we watch certain movies together, we watch certain shows together. He watches some of the things, he tries to watch some of the things that I like to watch, but some of the things I feel are a little bit inappropriate, so I don't let him get too involved with it or pay too much attention. But I also join in on the things that he's interested in. And that's also another beautiful aspect I love about, and what I'm learning about myself is that I like to learn. And I'm learning, I'm getting a chance to see things from his vantage point, from his outlook, from his experience, from his feelings. And he's reminding me of things that I may have once forgot, that I may have chose to forget. And he'll ask questions like, you know, like not sometimes not even ask questions, sometimes it's just an experience. Like right now, honestly speaking, uh kind of like in the dealing with the finessing lion phase. And I can remember I got disciplined in ways that I didn't like for lying, telling a fib, not telling the full truth. However you choose to verbalize that, you know, whatever verbiage you choose to use, it all means the same thing. And I could discipline them in a way that I experienced a lot of, but I choose not to. I choose not to physically discipline or harm my child because of every mistake that he makes as a 7-year-old that is evolving, that is a sponge that's still soaking up so much, that is still finding his way, just like I am still finding my way. And if I didn't like being hit, if I didn't like being yelled at, if I didn't like any of the different forms of discipline that to this day may be frowned upon, but back then might have been a-okay, might have been gonna get you, that's gonna get you to shape back right. I gotta find other ways. And when I, when we started getting to these points where disciplinary action had to come into place, we was in the trial and error phase. So it started, there was some times where he got yelled at. There was some times, because it was, it felt like that was what needed to be in that moment. But it was also coming from a place of familiarity. Yeah. Like it was, I'm accustomed to that. So that might be how I need to address this situation, which is not always the right thing. And I just realized, and I will watch his body language. I will watch how he responds to me yelling at him, me using certain words, me threatening to use certain tactics, me taking away his favorite toy, his favorite activity, his favorite show, just taking away certain things. And it's like, all right, cool. Sometimes 1 and 1 works, or 2 and 2 works, or whatever combination, or just 1 works. And then sometimes none of that works. When none of that works, what are you left with? What do you do? What didn't I do during any of those situations? I chose to do this immediately. And then doing that immediately, not once did I ever ask why. Not once did I ever have a conversation and get an understanding of what he was thinking, what he was feeling in that moment that made him say or do the things that he wasn't privy to a real conversation about, not knowing why he shouldn't do it, why he shouldn't say it, why he should say things like this or say it like this, or try to implement saying things like this or doing these things. There were no prior conversations. There was no preparation prior to. So why is it that when it does happen, the first thing is, hey, grab that belt, threaten, yell, scream, use language that shouldn't be used from a whatever age adult you are or I am to your adolescence, to your infant, to your toddler. And I know there are some people who wouldn't agree with me. They believe in physical discipline. To each his own. I'm not telling you how to parent. Once again, there's no rule book to being a parent. You are figuring this out as you go and in real time, and you are dealing with your child. One thing I wanted for me when I was a child, and that I practice with my child, is having a conversation. Why? There was a reason why I acted out the way I did. There was a reason why I did not listen, or I talked back, or I lied. There was a reason. A lot of the times as parents, we don't take time out to get to know why. Oh, you know better. You should have never did that. I taught you better than that. And then sometimes you gotta reel yourself in as a parent, or really sit down with yourself and really think, did you really teach your child not to talk like that? If you're always talking a certain way in front of your child, and that child goes to school or goes out somewhere and does it, did you really teach your child not to do it? Or did you really teach them, Or did you show them that, hey, this is what I do, but just because I do it or I said, you don't have to do it or say it. But then did you really have that conversation with them? Did you really sit down and say, hey, listen, yes, I am your mother. Yes, I am your father. Yes, I am your grandmother, your granddaddy, whatever your title is. If you are raising someone, try to remember when you felt misunderstood or you wanted to be heard and have a voice or just be listened to. You wanted to open up your heart, your feelings, or you wanted to try something, you wanted to implement something. You felt like you had some real good advice or some real good insight to share to help make a situation better. And think about how many times you were shut down, how many times you really had that opportunity. And then think about how many times you've given the person you're tasked, entitled, and blessed with raising, teaching, preparing for this ever changing, ever evolving, crazy at times, beautiful at times, world, environment that we live in where so many things are the same and so many things are changing. I welcome my son to ask anything he wants to ask me. I welcome him to express himself. Now, do I give him certain guidelines for expressing himself? Yes. But not only do I give him guidelines, I explain why the guidelines are in place. I explain to him when you use certain language, or when you use a certain tone, or when you use certain gestures, whatever the case may be, there's a cause and effect. You may know your intentions on why you say what you say, why you do what you do. But someone else may not know what your intentions is, or what your intentions may be, or what they really are. And how they interpret things may not be how you intentionally wanted it to be represented, seen, heard, whatever the case may be. So, not saying that you have to always cater to somebody else's feelings, someone else's thoughts, but you have to be mindful. And when you're not mindful and you don't care, or you just, this is just who I am, type attitude, type behavior, type of body language, you have to be able to accept what comes with it, whether good or bad. And so that's what I teach my son, that your intentions may be good, your verbiage may be good, your attitude may be good, but bad can still come from it. Your intentions may be bad, your words may be bad, but good can still come from it. But also, good can still come from good. Bad can still come from bad. I'm teaching him that at the end of the day, you are accountable for your actions, your words. You're not always responsible for how someone feels off of something you say or do. But if you intentionally try to hurt somebody's feelings because you don't like what they said, you know, you're not really fixing the problem or whatever the case may be. I really just do my best to teach him honesty, integrity, to teach him to be somebody of his word. You know, when he started lying, I was honest with him. I let him know daddy lied too. Daddy's made a lot of mistakes that, or done a lot of things that he wasn't supposed to do. You know, I don't come off as I'm perfect to, you know, I let him know a lot of things that he's thinking about or that he's thought about or that he's going to try. I've tried. I've thought about it. I've, I've done it. I've attempted to do it. I let him know that it's a safe space with me. You can talk to me. If you feel like there are other people around and you're not ready to talk, we could get together. You could just come to me and say, "Hey, Daddy, can we go on a walk so I could talk to you about something? Hey, Daddy, can we play the game? I want to talk to you about something." Or like, "Can we play the game?" And then while we playing the game, you start talking to me about something. If you have a question, ask me. If I don't know, we're gonna find out together. If I don't remember, we're gonna look it up together. If I we're gonna find the answer. I make sure that I'm present for him and with him. He knows that I forever have his back no matter what, no matter who. So I teach him what it's like to be respectful, what it's like to be loyal to your cause and find who you are. You know, don't feel bad for liking what you like or being into what you're into. Not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody's going to respect you. But just because someone doesn't like you or someone doesn't respect you or doesn't want to play with you doesn't mean you have to be mean, doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful. And even sometimes when you get that type of energy, you don't have to return it. You could kill him with kindness. You know, sometimes even when he's asking a lot of questions, sometimes I do tell him, "Hey, you don't always have to ask questions. Use your ears. You can listen to how people respond. You can listen to the words that they're using. You can watch their body language and be able to get the answers for your questions that you have in your mind or that you want to know without you even having to actually answer the question." And he asked me how you do that, and I would kind of show him and you know be able to point certain things out for him to be aware of. And I just love how, like, when he wants to know something, majority of the time he's not afraid to ask. You know, uh, it's just there's so many things that I've learned about myself with with having a child, with having him, and I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still processing. I'm still evolving with fatherhood, with entrepreneurship, with just stepping out into new adventures and new things. And he's like, "Daddy, mommy and I watched your video and things of that nature, and I want to do a video with you." I'm like, "All right, cool. What kind of video you want to do? What you want to talk about? Where you want to do it at?" And I'm excited that he wants to be involved. I'm excited that, you know, he wants to do gaming and things like that. Anything he wants to do, I told him we could do it. But a lot of the things that you want to do come with how you represent yourself and how you show up for yourself. He sees I work two jobs. He sees I get up, I show up, I make no excuses. I do what I have to do. And, you know, do I want to do it all the time? Hell no. But I do it. I do it because I have to. I do it because I want to. And I do it because there's something there. I'm aiming for something. Just like he loves having a Lamborghini and he wants a Lamborghini. I'm telling him, you got to work for that. Them cars don't come cheap. They expensive. So teaching them about money, we would sit there and watch expensive cars on YouTube. He knows about the Bugatti Veyron and everything like that. So much I'm learning about being a parent, and just having a child has taught me so much about the areas I still need to work on. Communication always been my biggest thing. I still don't communicate well all the time, especially with certain people doing certain things. But I definitely show him that I'm gonna always try. I'm gonna always get better. And when I fail, I learn from my failure and I try again. I try again. If I really want something, I'm gonna go out and get it. So all I can say is that I'm a master of my environment, of my skill set and what I have going on, and I'm teaching him to be a master at his environment, his skill set, and everything that he wants to. I'm learning that I have to be the example for the example I wanted, and I'm giving him that and hoping that he does the same thing for himself and for others if he chooses to. He's a helpful kid. He loves to help. He loves to share. He loves to, you know, talk and get to know others and why certain things work the way they work and operate the way they operate, things of that nature. So I just love seeing him grow, and I love that this having him in my life has taught me how to be more patient and respectful and grant grace. You know, where I would probably like, nah, man, like you knew better. All right, cool. You know, I knew better, and I still, had to go through things several times over. So, with him, it's amazing just the things that I've been able to teach him and still be able to learn and enjoy the whole journey of him grasping and understanding and asking some questions that I never even thought about asking. Sometimes the things that he wants to know and he's interested in, it shocks me. It shocks me like, wow, you know, you really, you're more advanced than I give you credit for. And sometimes, you kind of like set a limit and a cap. And I've also learned that because don't put me in no box. Every time you think you got me figured out, there goes something new, pull something new, so he doesn't, he said he doesn't like school and things like that, but we getting there, we working through it. I didn't like school, you know, I didn't finish school, I didn't graduate from high school, I didn't get a high school diploma or a GED, but I've been very successful. I have very good experiences, even through all of the not so good moments and the not so good things. I still been able to accomplish a world of great things that some only dream of, I only dreamed of, that I didn't even think were even possible or capable for myself. So this journey has definitely been worthwhile. I'm looking forward to what's to come. I'm looking forward to new moments where I learn something new from him and vice versa. And I definitely would love to hear how some of you have, what some of you have learned from having your child or your children. What are you still continuing to learn? What have you tweaked? And what are you still, what are some gems your child or children have taught you that you didn't know? Like where were you weak and you became stronger because you had some? So please let me see some of y'all in the comments. I know a couple of you like to call me and text me, but I would really love if you guys like, share, subscribe, and definitely chime in on the comments and share how having a child has taught you something about yourself that you may have avoided or didn't know or didn't feel you was capable of, but you knocking it out the park. You getting it done and you showing up for yourself and showing up for your child and watching them evolve and grow into the personality and individual that they are and not molding them to be the next you or finish what you didn't accomplish or whatever the case may be. You letting them be their own person and grow into the person that they need to be for the world that they're going to be in. So let me know how you're creating your legacy and enjoying your legacy while helping others create their legacy, enjoy their legacy, and be masters of their ceremonies and things like that. All right. Once again, you already know it's Mixie.